Let me do this together. Voice. Okay. Today, we're gonna rate every single class in Hearthstone. If you guys did not see, it seems like they will announce Monk at the end of the year at BlizzCon. I figured this is a perfect time before we go into rotation to talk about Hearthstone classes in general, but also rate what I think is the best class in the game. Let's start off with Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter is the worst thing added to this game, but in the same time, it's actually not that bad. The problem with Demon Hunter is Demon Hunter expedited the game. What I mean by that is Demon Hunter basically forced every other class to get more card draw, and it felt like decks became more homogenous. Generally, what had to happen was you had to speed up how fast you were in order to beat Demon Hunter. But let me ask you a question, chat. Is the game at its worst when Demon Hunter is the best class in the game? Now, everyone type yes for the video. Yes, oh my God, I fucking hate this class. Ban anyone who says no. Tell me one deck when Demon Hunter was top tier that it was fun to play against. Go ahead. The only positive quality of Demon Hunter is the outcast mechanic is fun to play with when you're the person playing it. And I will say, and I'll give it some credit, it is very fun to kill your opponent in ridiculous ways. I think that's just maybe the most appealing part of it. But there are so many negatives. Like, can we just go through it? First and foremost, let's talk about the greetings. When you get into a game versus Jaina, Jaina goes, "Hello." You know what Illidan says? Evil draws close. What kind of edgy motherfucker writes evil draws close? You can't even give me a hello? I don't care what any of you guys say. Demon Hunter is the worst class in this game. I will stand by it. I think every other class has more to talk about than Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter in every instance of the game has been the worst experience of my life. I hate playing against it. I hate when Demon Hunter is good. I hate everything that they do. I hate the fact that they have so much draw and they get so much mana reduction, and out of nowhere I die. I feel like I have some kind of PTSD emotional damage from this class, because before Demon Hunter existed, I didn't feel like I was able to die at 20 life. I always feel like I'm about to die. They've always had the best cards on curve. They always had the best draw engines. How are they given everything? And we're looking at this new set recently, and they also looks fucking stupid. Honestly, I'm gonna have to make a different tier list. Now, again, I do think Outcast is cool. Let's go on to the next one, shall we? Let's talk about the best class in the game, Warlock. Now, I'm not, for reference, Warlock here, I'm not talking about Wild, because at this point in Wild, it's a fucking lost cause. If you're queuing up Wild in the big 2-6, you have a better mental than I do, and you're okay with suffering. Now, in standard, throughout Warlock's entire history, Warlock has had the coolest cards given to it, because Warlock's design space is so much more open than something like Demon Hunter. I also feel like taking your life as a resource and making it into an actual mechanic into the game is super fun. I feel like the ability to sacrifice something to gain some kind of tempo or value is great. I feel like when Warlock's the best class in the game, about 50% of the time, it's not miserable to play against. We can think about the very big highlights of Warlock, right? Handlock, absolutely goated. What a great deck to play against and as. Cube Lock, super enjoyable. Really fun. I think overall Reno Lock was a phenomenal time in Hearthstone's history. And it's like the only class that felt like you could do that because of the hero power. Warlock terrorizing Wild, me when I didn't listen literally 1 minute ago. My man ignoring when Warlock was OP and everyone hated it. I mean, okay, talk to me what times Warlock was OP and it was miserable to play against. Let's just go through that real fast. Latest quest Warlock. Can you, okay, but hold on. You can't really blame the latest quest Warlock, because the problem with the quest Warlock deck is like everything from that set was ass. So like the fact is that Warlock was playable is maybe more of a benefit than not. Now, I'm biased towards Warlock. I really like it. I also feel like when it comes down to it, if you want to play, if Demon Hunter is your main class, I mean, you're probably a horrible person to hang around with. I'm gonna be honest. Like with Warlock, at least, like you got that, what's that called? Self-deprecating humor. Like, haha, I'm so ugly, but everyone in the room's like, I love that guy. You know, like that guy's funny. I'd rather hang around with Gul'dan enjoyers than Illidan enjoyers. I'm being honest. Can we also agree for Warlock that Warlock has the coolest hero power in the game? Shaman hero power is the coolest. I'll have whatever you're having, sir. Anyways, let's go to Priest, because I think Priest actually inspired this idea for me. Guys, what has been going on with Priest recently? I feel like they don't know what to do with the class. Ever since Death Knight was released, especially with blood and all that stuff, it's like they have no idea what to do with this. I gotta make this very clear from the very beginning. People don't like playing against control because they don't know when to concede against it. Sometimes it feels like you're like, oh, I can win against this if they don't have this removal, but like it's turn 8, you have no board, they're at 30 life. Bro, just move on. And it's miserable to play against that when you feel like everything you do is completely answered. But in reality, every single deck that's control is kind of just unfortunate to play against. The only difference against Priest is like Priest didn't really have a win condition. So when Priest was good, it just feels like you're just delaying the inevitable, and that doesn't feel good to play against. But the thing with Priest now is like Priest used to be this fun, quirky, unorthodox class where like they got some like really interesting tools, most of them completely garbage. I love playing off meta stuff And I feel like Priest is that off meta class. It's always that weird class in the corner that maybe there's something that you could do with it. But I legitimately feel like it has lost its identity ever since Death Knight came out. Here's a take for me. What if they made it, this is Priest's gimmick. What if they did this? Whenever you heal your hero and it's already at full health, you gain that max health. What do we think? Would that go crazy? Awful. Wait, why is that awful? But at least you give Priest something. Like, what is Priest's identity right now is like, guys, I have nothing to do. We don't have the time or energy to put the design into this class right now. We're just gonna throw shit out the wall and hopefully something works out. They need to give Priest some sauce. They did like over healing, but the problem is, dude, Hearthstone does this thing where it's like, let me pull up paint. I think Priest and Shaman get this the worst. Here is this really cool expansion of cards that we just did. Okay, hopefully this is going to bridge into the next expansion where we get another critical mass of stuff to hopefully make expansion A set good. But then all of a sudden they're like, all right guys, next set we're doing this shit, and it's the letter Z. What the hell? And like, it's like all of this stuff that could have been useful is gone. So eventually what happens is it feels like Priest has just a critical mass of good enough cards to make an actual deck. It's like, what's the word? It's like intentionally random. Now, I know a lot of you guys are going to try to tell me that Priest is miserable to play against, but I mean, when I really think back on it, the only one that really pisses me off, well, there's two actually. One of them is the Resurrect Priest, not because I think it was broken, but because, oh my God, if I heard that 5 mana 2/6 voice line once again, I was about to scream. The other one is when they kept resurrecting Amenthul. That one was miserable because it's like you just wipe the thing off your board. But on average, I don't think Priest is that bad. When Priest is really good, it's usually because of some wacky tempo deck. Like I think of Savers of Uldum, which is the best expansion in the game. Don't even get it twisted. When Priest was good during that set, it was a little overtuned, but it was at least like an interesting tempo deck to play with. Also, Priest has had some really fun decks. The Test Subject Priest, God, it was so fun. I think Priest has incredible potential, but I feel like right now they're kind of lost in the sauce, and it makes me a little sad. The real problem with Priest is that the avatar is not hot enough. Are we in the same reality? Yeah, I mean, we could talk about Anduin, but I mean, like, no, like, you know what I'm saying? I always low-key root for Priest, you know, I always do. I think it's like a C though. I think Priest is fine. Honestly, I don't mind putting Priest in B, but I think the design of the class has been so mediocre recently that I'm not a huge fan of it. Let's talk about Hunter. Guys, I'm gonna say a hot take here. I don't think you guys are ready for this. I honestly think Hunter is like the best design class in the game. I feel like people are gonna tell me that like it's so miserable against aggro and I hate playing against face Hunter, whatever. I legitimately feel like when Hunter's at its best, it's just a good, it's like the litmus test for your deck. When Hunter has like the most fun deck in the game, I'm talking like Deathstalker Rexar. What was her name who had the it was like Beast Hunter, Big Beast Hunter. What was that card called? Anyone know what I'm talking about? Where she had yeah, Katharina. Yeah. Katharina. Such a fun card, bro. Holy, that card was awesome. What's your least favorite Hunter deck? And while you talk about it, someone brought up my next point. I think Hunter over any other class in this game currently, over the entire 13 years this game has been out, Hunter has a very clear identity of what they want the class to be. It has had that forever. I'm gonna go for direct damage. I'm gonna play with my beasts. The mech one's a little iffy, but I mean, they've stuck to their guns about it. Rarran, please stop. The people aren't ready for the nuanced, thought out takes. The people just want rage bait. I mean, I feel like this is a rage bait for sure for a lot of people because, again, just like kind of like Priest, people really don't like losing to aggro decks. At least when Hunter is really good and aggressive, like the game's over fast. It's always been this litmus test of like you can't be greedy enough. Like you can't be too greedy because Hunter's always gonna sneak in and do something to stop you. That logic DH is fun. Okay, here's the difference between Hunter and Demon Hunter. Hunter has virtually no mana cheating and doesn't have good draw and no heal. No heal's a good one. When we look at our Hunter over the course of the game, their best draw engine, Starving Buzzard. You guys remember Starving Buzzard into Unleash the Hounds? Oh, those were good days. Everything post Demon Hunter, everyone got better draw. So yeah, Hunter did get draw, but so did like every other class. So yeah, of course, Hunter has more draw now. It's not contradiction necessarily. I'm talking throughout Hearthstone's entire history. I feel like Hunter has been the most pure class to its identity. And that's why I think it's the best class. I think the best design class in the game. It's not my favorite, for the record. Warlock is by far. Was that DH's fault or the design philosophy's fault? Well, the problem is, let me get paint out. We have the y-axis here and we have the x-axis. Okay. So like, you know, obviously this is going to be like the average of classes. I need to put a spike for when Demon Hunter came out. Hold on. Every class had an okay draw. Like, you know, Warlock had hero powers, you know, it was like fluctuating. Some classes got really good ones, whatever, right? Demon Hunter comes out, right? Demon Hunter brought the medium draw up because this class was just fucking mana cheating and draw. In order for every other class to match Demon Hunter, right? You could say like the design philosophy changed, whatever, but it was at this moment, this is the inflection point, and it correlates to when Demon Hunter was released, that the average draw, or the median draw that each class got went up. So maybe it was a design philosophy decision, but because Demon Hunter was so good at drawing and so good at mana cheating, every other class had to kind of match that. I was reaching at this point, reaching my ass. I'm reaching towards the bam button. No, I'm kidding. All right, let's talk about the next class. Talk about Shaman. We talked about Priest being the ugly stepchild. I think Shaman is what I would call the mutt. Shaman has this weird problem of doing the most batshit thing every single expansion. If you go through Shaman's history, it feels like every single set they're in a different continent on the world. Classic, I think Shaman had a good baseline, but then the problem, we look at Overload, right? And now Shaman has to have this cute little gimmick of like, oh, we got to make sure that their class identity is good. But the problem is like Overload as a mechanic doesn't feel great to play with. Then they had this stupid let's talk about Crackle real fast, right? Crackle is unfortunate. Now Warlock also got one of those random cards. And I'm talking, like, let's go through some of the design decisions here. We had, someone mentioned already, Free Shaman, right? We got Murloc Shaman. We got Overload Shaman. We got Elemental Shaman. I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, I could go on forever because they just get so much shit. Now, I will say this for Shaman. When Shaman's the best class in the game, I feel like I remember it more because it's so rare. Nature Shaman, dude, honestly, just for Nature Shaman alone, I might put it in D. I feel like that was maybe the strongest I've ever seen. Shaman's always consistent to its identity, like Hunter, so it's S tier. Okay, so but that's the thing. It's consistent about being inconsistent. So I don't feel like it really has a good identity because they don't really know what they're doing. They're just very consistent about being inconsistent. Also, I feel like some of the cards that Shaman has gotten over the years has been infinitely worse than like any other card. Not the point of Shaman, you're versatile in the elements, so you mean to do something different every time. I mean, dude, I think that's a little bit of a reach. If we focused on elemental packages, right? Like I'm down with elementals, you know, nature, all that stuff. I'm about it. But Shaman doesn't do that. Shaman's way above and beyond that. So it feels like what Shaman has to deal with is like every expansion, they're hoping they get a good enough set for it to be playable. I'm trying to remember what broken decks Shaman's had other than Nature and the Snowfall Guardian though. For me, it's like on the same as Priest. I feel like Shaman sometimes have some really good times, but on average, it's like, what are we doing here? I'm trying to think about what Shaman got for the last expansion. And the only card I remember is the Muradin. I don't know, it says C for me. It's a C for me. All right, let's talk about Druid. I think it's safe to say throughout Hearthstone's entire history, Druid has probably been the strongest class in the game. I mean, ramping in a game, you can't interact on your opponent's turn has always just been good. Druid also gets to do a lot of fun stuff because of ramping. I do feel like, this is my personal opinion, obviously fun is subjective, but I think Druid is the most fun class to play overall. I think when you're playing Druid and you just do the Druid thing, it is the most fun class to play. Druid breaks the game every expansion. Druid, Rogue, and Mage lose one full tier for taking Hearthstone hostage for their respective peaks. Do you guys not feel better about playing Druid because when you get to play your big mana card first, they feel so good? Like without Druid, a lot of cards would not be playable, which is like good or bad. If we think about what Druid's entire shtick is, which is ramping for the most part, right? Are we not going to say that Druid, they've done a good job consistently of making Druid feel like playing the big stuff is fun and good? You have to take away from the fact, because it's just like, it's going to apply to everything. Losing isn't fun. No one likes losing. I feel like when you are the one playing as the Druid, I can't say this for Demon Hunter. Okay, I can't. This is my difference. This is maybe more subjective, but this is my tier list, so you could suck my ass. When I do the good thing as Demon Hunter, I don't get filled with as much joy as I do when I played as Druid. Do you guys remember Clown Druid? Do you guys remember that deck where you would play Survival of the Fittest and the Clowns, and like you would just dunk on somebody, bro? That felt so good. Looking at Clown Druid at the top right of my screen. Opinion on larger and larger men. I mean, Jades in general are kind of whatever. You guys are talking about Jade Druid, which is hilarious to me because it's not even making on the list. I'm talking Spreading Plague at 5 mana. I don't know what they were thinking with that one. Force of Nature Savage Roar in Classic was pretty nasty, but I think that's just the case from like how good Wild Growth was and still is, to be honest. There's a lot of moments where Druid, when it's the best class in the game, is obviously feeling very oppressive, which I don't feel like I've ever really gotten that with Hunter, other than maybe Undertaker Hunter, but I think Undertaker was like the exception to that rule. Druid, as much as it is fun to do the most disgusting thing in the world, when you go against that, it feels so fucking gross, bro. When you get ill nasty 360 no scoped into Dungar summoning 3 minions, it's over, bro. If the Druid fantasy is ramping and doing like very, very strong stuff earlier than your opponent, I think they do a good job. I think Choose One has the best mechanics. One of the best mechanics, I would agree. I'm gonna put Druid in B. All right, let's talk about Death Knight, because Death Knight's the easiest one to talk about. To me, guys, I think Death Knight's a snooze class. I've always felt like this. That and Demon Hunter are the two classes in this game I don't have above 1,000 wins in. Other than the whole rune debacle, which is like, it feels like sometimes Death Knight doesn't get a full list of 10 cards because they have to fit into their individual rune archetypes. I do feel like Death Knight is a really well-designed class. Death Knight's got a lot of variety. It's got a lot of interesting mechanics. It plays differently. It's like 3 classes in one. I feel like no matter what Death Knight you're playing against, it's kind of just like interesting. Now, again, people are gonna be like, I hate Death Knight because they clear my board and they gain so much health. But again, like losing sucks. And I feel like they've taken all design space from Priest and kind of just moved it over there. I really think Death Knight is like ARS. And I don't even like playing the class. I think like Death Knight might be the most popular class in the game. I'm trying to think of like what would be more popular. I think the average player really likes Death Knight. I think Hunter is better. I think I have to dock it for the rune system though, because the rune system can be really frustrating to play with. But I think Death Knight has been a really good class for the game. And it's not like Demon Hunter, where I feel like when Death Knight's really good, it's not very frustrating to play against. If I have to choose a class that leads for game, I'm choosing DK with no hesitation. Why? It's fun to play against. It's interesting. I just feel like they've done a really good job. It's like when you have your first kid. I haven't had a kid in my life, but this is how I'm going to imagine based on, you know, how I've talked or spoken to parents about it. Like, you don't know how to raise your first kid, right? Like, it's your first time doing it. So like, this kid's a little fucker, but then you learn. And then all of a sudden you make the kid that's going to be your golden child in essence. Demon Hunter's adopted. I feel like if I asked you guys what your most hated class is, I feel like a lot of you guys might say Paladin. Paladin as of recently has been pretty bonkers. Paladin, I would say, is the most one-dimensional class out of the entire game. I kind of know what to expect from Paladin every single expansion, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it makes the class feel very one-dimensional. And when Paladin's good, I never really want to play it. There has been instances where Paladin's been really fun. I was a huge fan of Shrivala Paladin. I love that deck. I think that was so fun. I think that was the most interesting combo deck we've ever had. Anything Paladin was fun. I'd agree with that. I actually really like Anything Paladin. Is anyone here gonna tell me that Paladin's their favorite class? I would love to hear why. Me personally, I've never been that excited to play Paladin. There's very few instances where I was like, yeah, Paladin looks really fun. It's like you have your dinner plate and you got your protein, you got your carbs, then you got your Brussels sprouts. And if the Brussels sprouts are done really well, like I'm kind of about it. Like I could like Brussels sprouts, you know what I mean? On average, people don't know how to cook their Brussels sprouts. Let's be honest here. It's the last thing you're looking forward to eat. Like they do their job. Paladin's lovers favorite ice cream flavor is vanilla. Hey, don't shit on vanilla. Quick side tangent here. Don't you dare disrespect vanilla. Vanilla does a really good job of being the base of all ice cream flavors. It's good. Don't disrespect the original, the GOAT. Now, I'm not saying that it's the best thing in the world because we've definitely improved upon it. But vanilla as service, as a baseline ice cream is great. He just fulfills this fantasy of an underdog. Brother, I'm gonna be honest with you. What underdog? Demon Hunter is overhated. No, I'm not listening. I'm not even gonna read the rest of that sentence. I don't know. Me personally, I can see why people like it. It does fulfill the fantasy of being like, you know, the dude Paladin's fun to do with, and it does what it. I mean, to be fair, I should honestly give it more credit. Paladin's kind of like I'm not a huge fan of it, but it's the same thing with Death Knight. It's like the class for how it's designed is probably where they want it to be always. Gul'dan's A, so is Paladin. No, I'm obviously a huge fan of Warlock. It's my favorite class in the game. I mean, can we just talk about design space here? Like, bro, this class has had so much more interesting things going on compared to this. But again, that's subjective. It's my tier list. All right, let's talk about Warrior. How many of you guys like Warrior? Warrior, I think, is my second most played class in the entire game, but I feel like Warrior has changed drastically. Warrior has the highest peak of any class in the game. That's my honest opinion. I think when Warrior is so well designed, it is the most fun class to play in the game. I'm talking like in Rage Warrior during Ashes of Outlands, that shit was probably the most fun I've had in Hearthstone of all time. Patron Warrior, absolutely goated to play. And again, there are gonna be classes, there are gonna be things about every class that make you not want to interact with it or you hate it. But again, think about the entire time of this entire game, where like how Warrior has wait, the fucking the copy pasta. Dude, I loved Control Warrior in Classic. When Death Spike came out, oh my God, it was so fun, man. There's just so many good now obviously that's that. Can't look at all that. You can't cherry pick this. There's a lot of like, I'm talking Bran Warrior was kind of bad. Archivist Elysiana, 100% agree, but again, I think that's more of an Archivist problem than Warrior in general. Warrior has the potential to be a miserable experience, but I mean, that's what I mean. Like, I think Warrior's peak is so high when it comes to just design space, just kind of like Warlock, that when warrior's really fun, it is the most fun class of all time. Pirate warrior was a war crime. Yeah. So I will say like pirate warrior was really good. Keep on, I was just about to get to that. I do feel like, well, actually the most recent expansion, I feel like they did a pretty good job. Warrior had a little bit of a blimp recently where it felt like they didn't know what the hell they were doing. Warrior, they're kind of just doing a lot of nonsense. But I really think that warrior has just been a really good class for the game. How many of you guys would say warrior's your most like hated class? I really like warrior. I'm obviously biased here towards this class. I really like it. Face hunter in S. Bro, people are just, they see Rexar in S and they go, what the f, this is the worst list of all time. I feel like design space for warrior other than taunt has always been kind of interesting. I'm gonna fucking say it. I think warrior's goated. I actually think warrior's good. Like there are decks that I really don't like for warrior, and I feel like there's been times where it's been miserable to play against, and people are gonna be like recency bias right now because it's really good. But man, the peaks of warrior heavily outweigh everything else. Hitting like the ill nasty brawl and winning. Oh my God. Just the card True Heart with warrior. Oh my God, man. What you're describing sounds miserable. And this is why it's my tier list. Okay. It's my tier list. If you have a different opinion, go make your own tier list. Mage is really interesting because I feel like Mage kind of has, Mage has the reverse Shaman problem where they kind of give Mage a lot of nonsense as well, especially recently. Oh my God, they're just all over the place with Mage. When Mage, kind of like warrior, when Mage is really well designed, it is so fun to play. But I also feel like Mage gets kind of a weird, it's in this weird point in Hearthstone where it's like, it's the fun random class, right? It's the class before I think Death Knight came out where like, if you were going to introduce somebody to this game, I'd give them Mage. I would always give someone Mage because I think Mage is the most intuitive and the most fun class to play from a brand new player perspective.
Optimus Prime here to say that this is your tier list, my friend. You do not have to justify your choices to everyone. Hunter in S tier? Oh, okay. Well, at least you are entertaining my friend and have a good heart and will continue to help the Hearthstone community flourish. Rarran,
hey,
can you rate my custom class? It is called the Coyote class. Hero power 1 mana. Deal 10 million damage to a bald streamer. I think it is an easy S class.
I'm gonna talk about before 2020 with Mage. Because I think this is like, I think it's good to kind of go before and after Demon Hunter here. Before Demon Hunter came out, I think Mage was a really well-designed class, right? It intentionally was designed to be the more fun, random, wacky class. It had a lot of really interesting mechanics, it had a lot of fun ways to play Hearthstone. When you're designing, I think you have to think about like, how do you design a game for new players to get introduced to Hearthstone? I think is what Mage was for. Yeah, you could say Paladin for sure, because I think Paladin's pretty straightforward. But Mage is fun. Unstable Portal is like a prime example of Mage. The random aspect of Mage is fun. And then Mage also had a lot of variety when it came to its design. You had like Freeze Mage, which I know a lot of people don't like Freeze Mage, but at least was something, right? You got like we're talking like Sorcerer's Apprentice Antonitis shit was so fun. If you're looking to have fun for the average player, I think Mage is that class. Now, up until recently, I feel like they've kind of lost their way a little bit here. Mage has kind of done a lot of wacky stuff. Mage is weird. Like, I definitely feel like post Demon Hunter, Mage has kind of lost its way a little bit. I mean, Stormwind, I fucking hated the quest line for Stormwind so much. And people are gonna say Protoss Mage is unfun, but I don't think Protoss Mage is that bad. Describe Burgle Rogue. Yeah, but Mage I feel like is like the equivalent of Burgle Rogue. Sif Mage was peak Hearthstone. And I really wish. We get like, you guys think about this. What if we get I can't afford a deck tracker, but I think this would be really interesting. What if we get an extension that next to your name, it puts your rank. So when we look at someone's message, we can see where they are in terms of their rank. And then therefore we have like more of a perspective of where they're coming from. I like Mage. I've always thought it was I thought it was interesting. I don't think it's as well designed as other classes because it is always defaulted as the fun, wacky class, which is fine. But I mean, that's what Hearthstone's about for the most part. I mean, maybe not now. Like Hearthstone beforehand was a lot more about like, here's the fun, wacky classes, you know? Are you guys gonna hate me if I put it here? I'm trying to think of what the most fun Mage deck I played was. Right? The Sky Temple. See, it's cool that so many of you guys put different answers, right? Like, isn't that interesting? Like, and I think that's why Mage is like the class to play. I'm gonna go high B. I have to think about Mage a little bit more, to be honest. I hate you. Oh no. No, you hate me. Actually, I think Druids. I think it's bottom B. Honestly, it might be here, but okay, before I talk about this, how do you guys feel about Rogue? I think Rogue is a very polarizing class. It's the class where I think you love it or you fucking hate it. But the thing about Rogue is Rogue has Thief And I think everyone loves Thief Rogue. Thief Rogue is fun. Like, Imbue Rogue is a really good example of that. People love that shit. But man, can I say something? I think Rogue is the most fun class to play when it has like a very particular deck. Like, I love Warrior, and I think Hunter is just baseline, just the best design class. But man, when this shit gets like, when it gets the deck, there's nothing else that beats it. Like, it feels like you're on top of the goddamn world. I think the most dopamine I've ever had in Hearthstone of all time is Miracle Rogue from classic Hearthstone. And I think when Rogue is at that point, it is so fun to play. Now, playing against it sometimes is miserable. That has a lot to do with you being much younger then and less bald. It's because Rogue plays a lot of cards, and playing cards is fun. Just like Druid, Rogue has had the ability to do some really stupid shit. Rogue is better designed than Demon Hunter, but you don't have to tell me. I don't know where to put Rogue, man. Rogue is weird because I think at it, like just like Warrior, I think when it's really well designed, really fun. But when you're playing against it, it has the same cadence of Demon Hunter, where it's like, sometimes, man, I'm like, why is this class like this? I feel like for me, when it comes to Hearthstone classes, I legitimately feel like it's here or here. Like, it's so hard because I feel like Rogue never has a moment where it's like in between. Like, it's either here or here. And I think most of the time I really like Rogue. Rogue is fun to play. And if the identity of Rogue is to like play a bunch of cards in a single turn and do some crazy shit, I think they do a really good job most of the time with Rogue. Let's just run through this list for people who are here at the very beginning. I'll start from the bottom to the top. This class is atrocious design. I hate it so much. I wish it wasn't in the game. Priest, I feel like, has really lost a lot of its sauce because Death Knight came out. And I feel like as of recently, they don't know what to do with Priest. Shaman is the same thing as Priest, but I feel like they've had this problem throughout their entire lifespan. And most of the time, Shaman feels like it just gets a collection of cards every single set. Mage, I feel like it is just the Hearthstone class. Paladin is the same thing as Mage, but I feel like they've done a really good job of making Paladin like the most simple class to get into, and it's also the most straightforward. Druid is this class that I think is, unlike, honestly, Rogue should be here. Like, it should just be average. Druid, both of these classes are like, they're so fun to play, but when you go against them and they're doing their thing, it's like, why would they allow this? They both have the same problem, but and again, I think both of them are really fun to play when they do their thing. Like, playing against them is so miserable. You should call this same kitchen nightmares because you're not cooking. We'll leave this here for now. Warlock has, I think, the most design space of any class, and I feel like Warlock over Hearthstone's history has done a really good job of making the class very interesting. And I think it also has the best hero power in the entire game. It's the most interesting. I think they've done a really good job. I know people are going to be like, the rune system's horrible and whatever, but I do really feel like Death Knight, from its inception to where it is now, it's just been a really well designed class. People love it. It's very fun. There's a lot of variety for it. I never feel like against Death Knight it's a miserable experience. I don't know if Rogue should be here. I think Warrior at its peak is the most fun class in the game. I think there's been a lot of examples throughout Hearthstone's history that have showcased that Warrior is just so fun when they design it right. There's so much engagement with this class. This is funny because ironically, it's not the case right now. Most of you are going to have recency bias, but I think Warrior throughout Hearthstone's history has just been really good. A lot of variety. Tempo Warrior is so fun. Combo decks for Warrior have been really interesting. It is just great. This is the best design class in the game, in my opinion. Honestly, I'm gonna put a Rogue down here. Honestly, not putting it. People are gonna tell me that this is wrong, but if you look at just design and class identity and everything that Hunter has been involved with, they have done such a good job of keeping it consistent, keeping it interesting, and still making Hunter one of the most popular classes in the game. They've done a great job. Wow, I feel so engaged in punching down 50 armor. Anyways, what do you guys think? Give me your tier list. What do you guys got? Let me look at your tier list. This is where I gotta do the YouTube spiel. Hey guys, if you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe. Tell me how good my tier list was. Think about me tonight when you go to sleep.